How's it going, folks? Welcome back to another Ranger Talk video. I have very special guests today. It's the incredible, multi-talented Isiliel. How y'all doing?
Hi, hello. I'm Isiliel. My name is Himari Tsukishiro. Nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet
And
you.
thank you. And I'm Isiliel's producer, Ricky. I'm just going to be jumping on for translation. So don't even need to pay attention.
Perfect. So when I start, I like to go kind of all the way back to the beginning sometimes. When did you first discover your love for singing?
ひまりちゃんはいつから歌うこと好きになりましたか？
歌うことが好き。すごい面白い質問。インタレスティングクエスチョン。歌うことが好きになったのは最近かもしれないです。それこそファーストアルバムを出してから歌うことが好きになったかもしれません。
So actually, Himari said that it's kind of interesting, but she just started to actually like singing recently. And even you could say when Isiliel's first album came out this spring was when she really started actually liking singing.
Oh, so you didn't like singing before?
その前は歌うこと好きじゃなかったんですか？
好きじゃなくはないんですけど、もともとアイドルとして歌うことを始めて、あれでしたね、うまくならなきゃとか、自分のパートをちゃんと音程通りに歌わなきゃとか、そういうものの方が意識が強くて怖かったです、ちょっと。
So when Himari started, she was part of an idol group, like a girls group. And for her, there was a lot of pressure, to make sure that she was on pitch, that her timing was right, that she was singing correctly. So it was very difficult to really enjoy singing because she was always kind of worried about, am I doing it right? Am I good enough? Am I, not getting in anybody else's way? So it's just now that she started doing solo activities that she started to enjoy that process of singing.
Very cool. That makes sense. And that was also something I was going to ask you about. Is I know you're involved with the project before Isiliel, and I'm not too familiar with that. Could you tell me a little bit about that project, and then what led you to do a solo work?
イシリエルの前のプロジェクトを実は詳しくないんだけど、なんか活動されたようで、そのプロジェクトのことをちょっとだけ教えていただいて、でどうやってソロを始めたか教えていただけませんか？
暗黒系アイドルグループ、モストダークネスアイドルグループをしていたんですけれども、一つ前に前世があって、そこで歌うことを始めました。で、今のソロの前のアイドルグループで声をかけていただいて加入しました。で、そこから、紆余曲折いろいろありまして、ちょっと自分自身が迷子になっている時にソロプロジェクトのお話をいただいて、そこから始まりました。
So for Himari, she actually started singing for the first time in a whole other group, and that was several years ago, and then joined that group, Necronominal, an ultra dark idol group. After that, there were quite a few changes and lineup changes and things there. But at a point where she was kind of wondering where her place was in the group, where her place was as a performer, we started talking about maybe doing a solo project, and that's how Isiliel was born.
So you say the previous how do you say that?
Necronominal. Necronominal. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Forgive me.
Difficult.
Yeah, it's a bit of a tongue twister. So you said that's kind of an ultra dark idol group. How does that compare to just the, I guess, regular or or standard idol groups?
なんか、ネクロノームアイドルの方は、暗黒系って言うんですけど、普通な、平凡っていうか、通常通りのアイドルグループとどう違いましたか？
まず、そうですね。まずはコンセプトが、ラブクラフトっていう小説が元になっていて、その中のネクロノミコンっていう魔導書があるんですけど、そこから名前を取っているように、普通じゃない普通じゃない雰囲気でしたね。で、歌詞も振り付けも暗黒舞踏っていうそのダンスのジャンルがあるんですけど、すごく独特で、なんでしょう、ちょっとおどろおどろしいというか、普通はなんかキラッみたいな感じがアイドルっていうイメージがやっぱりあるとは思うんですけど、そうじゃなくてもっと世界観を出す、こう暗い中にも暗いものを表現するアイドルグループっていうのは当時は唯一無二だったんじゃないかなって思っています。
So, just going from the name, so the name comes from the grimoire Necronomicon by the author H.P. Lovecraft. And so a lot of the group's roots kind of came from that more darker, more kind of like subcultural area. The choreography was based in a type of Japanese avant-garde dance called Ankoku Buto, which is a sort of like dark, expressive modern dance that you see a lot in like subcultural theaters and different kinds of productions like that. The lyrics were also dealing with a lot darker subject matter than most other idol groups. So for a lot of other idol groups, like a normal idol group, it's very kind of light and poppy and fun. But for Necronominal, it was like from the ground up, a much darker kind of conceptual group.
Very cool. That sounds like it was pretty unique in the idol group scene, I assume.
Yeah, so Himari actually said a second ago, when we were active, we were kind of known as like the one and only like ultra dark idol group. So
Yeah.
this is kind of me going off, but there's a lot of heavy metal idol groups, there's a lot of loud idol groups, but there aren't a lot of idol groups that were just focused on kind of pure darkness.
And last question on the idol group thing. I'm just curious, what makes an idol group separate from just another band?
Sure. なんかアイドルユニットとバンドの違いは何でしょう？
そのメンバーが楽器を弾くか弾かないかじゃないですか。あとは、これは私個人の意見ですけど、アイドルは今はちょっと背景がどんどん変わってきて、その生き様を見せるとか、すごく生々しい部分までを伝えるっていうのもあるけど、アイドルはそもそも偶像であったと思います。なのでバンドはこう生々しいものを見せる、その生き様を見せるっていうのがバンドかなと思うんですけど、アイドルはそうじゃなくて夢を見せる、こう逃げれる場所になるっていうのがそもそもアイドルだったんじゃないかなって思います。
So, I think basically the simplest answer would just be like, are the members playing instruments or not playing instruments? Because normally for idol groups, the members aren't performing instruments live on stage. But beyond that, recently you see a lot of idol groups, especially in Japan, that are saying, you know, we show a way of living, we show life or our lives as they really are. But for me, I think, for Himari, I think at the basic definition of idol is idol. So like idolatry idol. So it's a kind of stylized or kind of perfected image that's created and kind of shown to the audience. So it gives them like a dream, it gives them more of a kind of fantasy to enter into. Whereas a lot of times for bands, they're kind of like, this is who we are, this is the way it is, this is life. For idols, it's a lot more kind of, there's that fantastical element or that kind of, in a good way, created element, that like perfected element kind of overriding everything else.
Wow. sounds a little stressful. So,
すごいストレス高い職業ですね。
でも最近はもう本当になんだろう、本音を言う
うん。
アイドルさんも増えてきてるので、すごくどんどん時代によって変わってるなっていうのはありますね。
I think, yeah, in a way, but lately there's a lot of idols who are kind of expressing themselves, expressing how they really feel, kind of like telling it like it is. And so that's been making things a little bit easier than
Yeah.
before.
Okay, good. So now I want to talk about MOONBOW Genesis and Isiliel.
Sure.
Once you moved, into the solo sphere, what type of music did you originally have in mind for your solo album?
ソロを始めるとき、特にソロアルバムを始めようとしたときで、どのような音楽をイメージしてましたか？
ソロアルバムを作るとき。
なんか作り始めるっていうか、作ろうとした。
もうそれは、あれですね。どんな音楽なんて言うんだろう。もともとその1曲目に入ってる光明騎士という曲がイシリエルの出発の曲で、そこから同じ作曲家さんに、2曲また書いていただいて、でその時にプロデューサーさんからファーストフルアルバム出そうよという提案をいただいて、もうでその曲すべてその同じ作曲家さんということで、もう絶対に私をこうなんでしょう、伝えられるアルバムができるってその時確信していたので、何の不安もありませんでしたし、美しいアルバムができるってすごく楽しみでした。
So, Isiliel's first song was actually written by a guy named Nikolai Hovland, and that was Komyo Kishi. And so he wrote Komyo Kishi for us, and then we worked with him on a couple other songs. And after about the third song, I actually came to Himari and said, hey, let's do a full album with Nikolai. Let's do kind of like which is unusual for this kind of project. Normally you'd have several songwriters, but let's just do a full album with all songs by Nikolai. And so she said, knowing that kind of that thrust, like this is going to be Nikolai's songwriting, these are going to be the types of songs we're going to be doing and the types of songs we're going to be working with, she was really at ease and she was really confident that we could make something really beautiful together with him on this album.
でもそこからもう大変でした。
But after that, things got difficult.
Oh. How did things, I guess I'll just roll with that there. So after you found the songwriter, what difficulties did you face?
じゃあもう作曲さんが決まって作ろうとして、そこから何が難しかったんですか？
同じ作曲家さんに10曲書いていただくっていうのは多分相当なプレッシャーとかストレスだったと思うんです。時間も限られている中、その中でコンセプトアルバムとしてどんどん情景が変わっていく曲を作っていくということで、まずテイクを送っていただいて、それを聞いて、ニュアンスで私がいやこれはちょっと違う、これは伝えたい音楽じゃないっていうのをすごく専門的な知識じゃなくこう自分の感じたままに伝えるので、テイクが何回かこう積み重なって、でもう時間がないっていうので、もうお互いがこうギリギリで生きている状態でした。
So, starting out with Nikolai, it was going to be a 10-song album. It was going to be a concept album on top of that. And so just from kind of that inception, there's a lot of pressure. It's a very kind of like stressful proposition to a songwriter to say, it's basically all on you. And as we were writing the songs or kind of putting the album together, the kind of like album as a whole, the project as a whole starts to take shape, starts to take form, and you see this part fits, this part doesn't fit, this needs to be changed, this really works well. And so Himari was saying, for me, you know, I didn't come at it from like a musical expert, like the place of a musical expert, but you know, I would say like, this isn't what I want to express in this song, or, you know, I think the instrumentation should go this direction as opposed to that direction. And so, you know, we went back and forth. We had a lot of different takes and a lot of different demos and versions. And on top of all that, time was ticking. So, you know, you start getting to the end of that production schedule and you're all kind of living on the edge. You know, it's like,
Right.
it's gotta go, we're going into the studio, we're going into production, pre-production on this, and you're still kind of hammering out these, you know, little bugs or these little kinks in the songwriting. That was a bit of a challenge.
だからですね、最終的にレコーディングの前日にもう最後出来上がるっていう曲もありました。
And so the very day before we were supposed to record it, we finally got the final version of the last song together, and it was, yeah, stressful.
すごいのは本当にニコライさん、一度も弱音を言わずに作ってくださった。
But the great thing about Nikolai was he never complained, he never said anything negative. It was always, okay, you know, let's give it another try, let's keep going. He's really, really great to work with.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like it really went down to the wire, but I'm glad you had a good collaboration, you know, with the songwriter there. And one thing that I really love and really stands out about Moonbow Genesis, in my opinion, is the fusion of multiple styles, you know, especially within the metal sphere. You know, there's some symphonic elements, folk elements. It really is its own thing. And was that, would you say, because of the collaboration, you know, how you would say, oh, maybe change this a little bit or that a little bit? Did you have a set direction or just kind of let everything naturally be what they were? Sorry for the very long-winded question.
No, no problem. アルバム自体がすごいメタルという大きいジャンルの中にいくつかのジャンル含まれてて、まあフォークメタル、シンフォニックメタル、いろいろ入ってて、でそれを聞いてすごくかっこいいなっていうか、なんか本当に壮大なイメージ持ってて、それはそのなんか、なんていうかね、遅れの原因の一つが、例えばなんかどんな風に入りましたかね。もうこうでいってこうでいってこうでいくか、例えばなんかやりながらで、まあやっぱちょっと路線変更っていうか、なんかちょっと書いてみようかなっていう方向で入りましたでしょうか。
曲に関しては、それこそニコライさんが考えて作ってくださって、それをリッキーさんがこうちょっとこうしようよとかしてくださってたのが多分ほとんどだとは思うんですけど、キマが一番こう初めて曲に関してこう提案させていただいたのは5曲、4曲目の帰国演舞っていう曲で、日本の楽器を多々使ってるんですけど、それが耳障りとか雰囲気とかがこうやっぱり日本人なので、なんかちょっと違うかもとかテンポ感とかすごいそこで引っかかって、暇はその曲に対して一番こう提案をしたのは多分遅れの原因にはなったと思います。
僕もちょっと付け加えていいですか、それで。So, yeah, kind of before we get into Himari's answer, the way we actually approached the album overall and kind of songwriting, I would be talking to Nikolai and saying like, hey, you know, I'd like to have a really kind of like upbeat, fast power metal song, maybe a little bit of like Italy, a little bit of Germany, some, you know, like Stradivarius type elements in here, Or, on the other side would say, okay, let's go a little bit more industrial. Let's have something a little bit more mechanical, a little bit more like fiery in this part. And so we would start out with kind of these ideas and these kind of like visions of where this song was going to go, or the album was going to go for this part or that part before we got into the song. And Himari was saying that for her especially, the one song that really she gave a lot of feedback on, or that she really thought we need to do a little bit of a brush up on, was song number 4, Kikoku Enbu. That's a song that has a lot of Japanese instrumentation. And for her, as a Japanese person, listening to that, kind of the way some of it felt in her ears, the way some of the tempos progressed, or the overall timing of the song, she thought, we've got to kind of dial this in. We've got to kind of make a couple changes here, a couple changes there. And, while that maybe pushed things back a little bit, it also really pushed things forward a lot in terms of the quality.
Cool. Yeah, I just love the diversity on the album, and the way that it flows. At any point, were you afraid that it would feel a little bit almost like a mixtape, as opposed to like an album that with so many different styles?
Sure. なんかアルバムがね、なんかいくつかのジャンルが入ってて、やってる最中で、例えばなんかいろんなジャンル混ぜてやって、一つの作品ではなく、プレイリストみたいな感じに聞こえるっていうか感じちゃうかなっていう恐れありましたか？
ないです。もう、なんでしょう、一緒にこの作品を作る方々は本当に愛を持って一緒に作ってくださってるのを感じてましたし、不安はもう自分に対してだけだったので、そういうそれ以外の不安はほとんどなかったです。
So I really felt a lot of love. I really felt a lot of just care being put into the album from everybody involved. So I wasn't worried about that. I was worried a lot about my own performance. I was worried on if I would be able to carry it myself. But beyond kind of my own insecurity there, I really didn't have any insecurities about the album itself. I felt really confident in it.
Great. How did you prepare vocally for this album, especially with the wide range of styles being covered? Was it a challenge going from your idol band with the ultra dark, kind of idol vibe to really expanding, I'd say, your musical horizon? How challenging was that for you?
アルバムに向けて、ボーカリストっていうか歌手として特に準備してたものとか、不安になってたものとか、例えばなんかもともとアイドルとして活動されてて、ソロアーティストで、幅広く歌わないといけなくて、いくつかのジャンル歌わないといけなくて、それに対してどんな準備しましたか？なんかどんなような角度の準備でも、声の準備でも。
まずはあれです。マッスルトレーニングです。マッスルトレーニング。筋トレをしないと、腹筋、肺活量とか、すべては筋肉だという悟りを得てるので、まずは筋トレをすごく頑張りました。あと、やっぱりアイドルグループの時は、それぞれパートがあって、すべてを歌うことはなかったんです。ですが、ソロになって、すべてを自分で歌うどころか、ハモ2つとか、すごい1曲の中に3回自分で音程違いの歌を歌う、さらに感情をずっとこう込めて、絶対にこう迷子にならないように、その曲に対して向き合うっていうのは、とてつもない精神力だったので、とにかく筋トレしました。
それも筋トレ。はい。So I think the basic, like for me, the most basic type of training is muscle training. So really just having strong abdominal muscles, having like strong muscles to kind of like bring forth your voice, to kind of really get the power out. And
yeah, look at those muscles. Yeah.
One of the biggest differences doing a solo versus singing with a group is when you're singing with a group, you're not doing the whole song. So you've got several other vocalists singing along with you. And so, you're kind of going back and forth, and a lot of the harmonies, you only have to worry about one harmony. But for solos, some of the songs had two different harmony lines that were going along with them. So I would have to sing the same song or the same vocal parts, different harmonies, obviously, different pitches, but 3 times. And so really kind of like maintaining your concentration, maintaining your emotion so that everything kind of links together, it all fits together in the end, was a real struggle. And kind of the one thread that pulled me through all of that was just muscle training.
Cool.
あとはグループ、それこそアイドルを、アイドルグループをしていた時は、歌が下手っぴ、ピッチもリズムもぐちゃぐちゃで、レコーディングの時は、手を叩いていただいたりした過去があるのですが、本当にボイトレを頑張りました。
So when I actually joined the group, I was just not good at vocals at all. I was really starting from almost zero. There were points where when we were recording, somebody would have to kind of go in the booth with me and clap along so I could kind of keep my rhythm because I was just really struggling with it. So, one thing that I really thought when I started, performing as a soloist was I've got to do more voice training. So really putting the time and the effort in on vocal training sessions.
Awesome. Well, it paid off for sure, in my opinion, anyhow. But another thing that, again, I just found MOONBOW Genesis to be such a unique, refreshing album that really stands apart from a lot of the other music being released today. And another thing that I find so cool about it is the infusion of kind of a performance visual art sort of aspect to it. It's not just the songs, but you're very, dancing, or, there's a lot of imagery going on. Did you carry that on from your idol group days, or is that a new expression?
なんかアルバムはすごい今出てる音楽とすごい違ってて、すごい新鮮で、本当にいい意味で独特な作品になってると思います。で、その一つの強みとして、もちろん音楽だけど、その上にビジュアル、それ振り付けもそうだし、映像とか画像とかその面のひまりちゃんの見せ方もすごく一つの強みだと思うんですけれど、それはやっぱりアイドルという加工っていうか、アイドルという経験があって生まれたものか、ソロになってから付け加えようとしたものですか？
なかなか難しい質問ですね。
Difficult question.
ちょっとぶっちゃけた話をしちゃうんですが、アイドルグループってすごく難しくて、一人が例えば突っ走ってっちゃったらダメ、形にはならない、いずれほころびが出たりとかするなっていうのをある時から感じています。ちょっと今の変だったかもしれないんですけど、で、自分がそのアイドルグループの中で先輩になった時に、すごく自分が苦しかったこととかを思い出しながら、そうなりたくない、そうさせたくないって思って、数年間誰よりもメンバーに寄り添って活動できたなって思っています。何と言われてもそう思っています。で、その時にいろいろやっぱり自分をちょっとだけ抑えたりとかしていたんですね。で、その時に冒険できなかったことを今ソロになって全部していいし、してどこに行けるのかを今どんどん挑戦して、自分自身もちょっと怖かったり、ちょっとワクワクしたりしながら、みんなと一緒に作り上げられてるなって思っています。
So, kind of a difficult question, but one thing I learned being a part of an idol group is you can't really go too far ahead of the other members. You know, it's like you're part of a group. And so if one member alone is just really going, boom, like right at the head of the pack the whole time, it just doesn't work from a group dynamic perspective. And so I joined that group partway through. I didn't join at the inception of the group. I joined, you know, several years after that group had been created. And so after several years, I became the most senior member in the group. And a lot of the kind of difficult, you know, challenges that I'd had to face those first couple of years myself, I said, okay, you know, I want to make sure the new members coming in don't really have to deal with that. I want to make it as easy as possible for them. And so I really tried to kind of like connect with them and help them along. And I feel like I was really able to do that. But what I realized was by doing that, or kind of through doing that, I was also sort of like putting a damper on myself. So I wasn't able to kind of experiment or try new things or express things as much as I wanted to myself as a performer, because I was thinking about the other members and kind of, you know, making the group itself work or function. So when I went solo, one of the best things, one of the most interesting things was being able to kind of just take all the limiters off, express whatever I wanted to express, just really be myself, really show what I wanted to show, not have to worry about, you know, kind of like those group dynamics. And it can be a little bit scary, but it could also be really, really exciting, you know, to kind of try all these things that I had wanted to try, but wasn't able to when I was in the group.
でもですね、MV で持ってた何バースでしたっけ？剣、リリース。
剣の方だよね。
はい、剣だったり、アルバムのジャケットの時は寒さとか重さとかで殺されそうになりました。
But that said, the sword that we use in the Seion Kengen music video and also the album jacket, it's like an actual metal sword. So I think it weighed about 3 or 4 kilograms, something like that. 2 kilos, 2 kilograms. Wasn't 3? It was a lot. It was heavy. So
heavy,
that
huh?
was super heavy. We were actually shooting all of the, super difficult to swing. And
well, good thing you did all that muscle training.
Right? 筋トレしてよかったね。
よかった。
役に立ちましたね。
立ちました。
And then the shoot was actually in Nagano, in the mountains, kind of in central Japan. So it was really snowing that day. So, you know, that all said, I still almost died.
What? Yeah, I didn't know if it was you know, painted in but it was actual just snow everywhere for real. Wow.
Yeah,
I love
that was January, I think, late January, maybe. And in Japan, early February. And even in the middle of winter, there's not a lot of areas outside the mountains where there's that much snow in Japan. And especially regularly, you know, it's like it'll snow this week, but it'll all melt off. So we had to really drive out there and say, like, in this one area, there's always snow. So there will definitely be snow here. But yeah, it started snowing while we were filming, while we were shooting. So you can see like there's snow building up on her shoulders or on her hair. And that was all, none of that was fake. It was all right there.
That's so cool. It's quite the adventure.
冒険でしたね。
でも、シューティング、always hard, but life is hard, but beautiful. そうだから、OK.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I love just the imagery and that sword is so cool. And you're always wearing like these extravagant different outfits. Where do you find these clothes? Do you make these yourselves or get them custom made, or how do you find all these different really cool clothes?
いつも撮影ですごい尖った衣装、めっちゃすごい衣装着てるんですけど、それ買ったりしてますか？作ったりしてますか？作ってもらったりしてますか？
そうですね。すべてですね。買ったり、作ってもらったりしてます。
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything. So for the armor in the album shoot, I actually made that myself. So I did that, me.
Wow.
Some of the other stuff Himari finds or Himari will make, but I'm usually the prop master, the prop costume master.
Nice. I mean,
西
it's
湾
just
経
so
験
cool.
談、西洋経験談のアーマ
うん。
ーは本当にフォームから手作りされましたね。
Yeah, we made that. It was all handmade out of like foam, out of cosplay foam material. So I felt very bad because on the day of the music video, gave it to Himari and yeah, it was really difficult to keep on. So you had double work. You had the big heavy sword,
Yeah.
and you also had to make sure that the armor didn't break.
Oh my gosh. It's so fun to learn the behind the scenes things of stuff like that, where all we see is the end result and it looks perfect and all that, but you never know all the hard work or some of the mishaps that happen behind. So that's really cool.
すごい面白い。なんか最終出来上がってるものを見て完璧に見えるけど、その途中のハプニングとか苦労とか伝わんないから面白いんです。
もう苦労しかないですね。
Yeah, it's always struggle. There's always struggle.
So you already went on a world tour, correct? How did that go, and what was that experience like? Have you toured the world before?
今ワールドツアーしましたよねって言っていただいたんですけど、厳密に言うと今ワールドツアーで過去でも世界ツアーとかやったことありますか？いかがですか？
ないです。そう、ファーストワールドツアーですね。
Yeah, so we're actually still technically in the middle of the world tour right now. So
wow.
we're in Thailand at the moment, but no, it's first world tour.
そう、人生で初めて、今のタイはひまが初めて行った海外であり、初めての海外ツアーの土地なので、すごく帰ってこれてよかったって思ってます。
And so it's kind of interesting, but Thailand was both the first country outside Japan that Himari had ever been to, and also her first international tour years ago with the group. So it's very nice to be back here.
Yay!
So have you been enjoying, because I think you even went to North America, right, for some conventions or Comic-Cons, things like that. And have you noticed different regions reacting differently to your music and performance?
なんか北米にも行かれたと思うんですけど、例えばなんか各国のリアクション、なんか乗り方とか、なんか音楽に対する反応、違いますか？
全然違いますね。もう本当にヨーロッパで一緒に声を出したり踊ってくださる方もいれば、なんでしょう。例えばアメリカでヒンヒンって感動して泣いてしまう方もいれば、今回のタイではこうすごいずっとじっと見てくれてる方でも笑顔の方もいれば、その隣にこう踊ってくれている女性もいたりとか、もう国によって違うのももちろんあるんですけど、人によって違う。でもすごくその新しい出会いがやっぱりあると、ここまで届けられたんだ、そしてこれからもまた広げていけるなっていうのをステージから感じたりして嬉しいです。
So she said, yeah, it's totally different. You know, when you go to Europe, there's a lot of people who really get into it, and they're kind of like calling, like, singing along with the songs, moving along with the songs. Sometimes you go to the US and you see people who are just kind of like crying because they're moved by the music. In Thailand, I saw one person who was just like really like looking at you the whole time with smiling and really taking it in. And then next to them, there's a girl dancing. So, country by country, yeah, but also person by person. There's just a real different kind of reaction to the music. But it's really cool because every time you go to a new country, you can see, we're reaching new people. New people are kind of like hearing the music. They're seeing it for the first time. They're enjoying it. And so really kind of feeling the payoff of, all the hard work that goes into touring.
でも、
And
あれですね、国によって違うっていうよりも、その日本の中でも全然乗り方が本当に人それぞれ違うので、やっぱり人それぞれだなって思います。ただ、海外だと、その日本の例えばアイドルカルチャーとかがすごく人気で、サイリウムを振ってくださったりとか、口上を言ってくださったりとか、じゃあじゃあって募集してくれたりとか、そういうのを見ると、やっぱりつながってるんだなって思います。
Yeah, even inside Japan, you see people, there's all different ways of kind of enjoying shows, of really getting into it. But when you're overseas and you see people with like pen lights and calls and moshing, and just it's a lot of the people who've been into idol music, like Japanese idol music before, and really are kind of living in that milieu, living in that kind of genre. It's really cool to see, this type of music or this style of music spreading out worldwide.
awesome. So I trust the reception has been positive for MOONBOW Genesis so far. Have you seen just a lot of people just really resonating with this album in a positive way?
なんかアルバムの反応がすごい良かったかと思うんですけど、なんかみんな、なんていうかね、なんかすごい聞き入れてくれてるかとか、なんかどんな風にとらわれてるって思いますか？
ですね、本当にたくさんの感想、多分こんなに感想いただいたことないぐらい届けていただいて、もう全部例えば SNS とかだったらスクリーンショットをパシャパシャパシャパシャ撮って心の宝物にしてるんですけど、最近いただいた言葉ですごく心に残ってるのはビクトリーソング、お手紙でいただいたんですけど、本当に苦しい時期が生きているとたくさんあるけど、このアルバムを聴いた時に私にとって勝利の歌のように感じたっていうのは、私自身そのお手紙を読んだ時に泣いてしまって、そんな風に言ってもらえる時が来るだなんてって、私自分のことをすごく卑下してやっぱり生きてきたので、こんな風に誰かを救える曲を歌えたんだっていうのは本当に私自身が救われました。
So she was saying, yeah, there have been so many amazing comments, especially on social media or online. So I go through and I just take screenshots of all of them and save them in a special album so I can look back at them. But one that I recently received in a letter from a fan that just really, really touched me was they said, going through their life, they've had so many difficult experiences, so many kind of like trying experiences. But for them, this album has become like a real victory song and has really given them a lot of courage, to get through those tough times, those tough experiences. So for me, I never thought I would receive this much positive feedback. I don't think I've ever received this much positive feedback on anything I've done. But to read something like that, it just really touches me because I never thought that something I sang would be like somebody's lifeline. Something that's really giving hope to people. So, I was crying as I read that, but just so happy that I was able to make a positive difference in that person.
Wow, yeah, that's amazing. I'm glad to hear that, you're receiving all that incredible feedback. And so what is the future of Isiliel, if you know yet? I don't know if you're still just in the world tour mode or if there are plans for a follow-up album or just more solo work. What's next?
なんか今すごいいっぱいいい反応いただいて、ワールドツアー中で多分それでもう手一杯だと思うんですけど、イシエルのこれからどう思ってますか？なんか例えば、セカンドアルバム出すかとか、他のツアーやるか、ひまみちゃん自身やりたいことなんかありますでしょうか？
そうですね、そうですね、もちろん、結構目の前のことで精一杯にはなりがちなんですけど、まだまだメタルの赤ちゃんなので、本当に、なんだろう、まだ生まれたばかりというか、たくさんたくさん尊敬するメタル界の 方たちがいるので、その方たちとライブをできたら本当に刺激的ですし、また今応援してくださっているファンの方たちにも新しい何かを届けられると思うので、そこに行けるようにどんどんチャレンジしていかないといけないなって思っています。
So Himari said that, yeah, I have a tendency to just kind of see what's in front of my eyes at the moment. So looking forward is always difficult, but I'm still kind of a baby when it comes to heavy metal. Like I was just born into the heavy metal world. And there are so many people who are like artists who have gone so much further, who are, kind of at this other level. And I'd love to just really have a chance to play with them, to perform with them. And I think that would be a really great experience for me as a performer myself, and also for our fans, to be able to kind of see these other artists and to kind of be on the same stage as some of these legends. So I want to do my best so that I can perform with some, amazing artists here on out too.
Cool. I love that. And so I have one more question. Do you prefer singing or dancing better?
最後なんですけど、歌うか踊るか、どっちが好きですか？
どっちも好きです。強いて言うなら歌うことも好きですし、踊ることも好きですし、演技をすることも好きですし、お話しすることも好きですし、とにかく大切な人たちに自分の個体で表現できるものがあれば何でも挑戦したい。挑戦すると新しい世界に出会えて、そこに一緒に連れて行けるので、私の大切なみんなを。なので、その景色に一緒に出会いたいなって思うので、全部好きです。
So she said she loves singing and dancing, and just beyond that, whether it's singing, dancing, kind of talking like in interviews, acting like on stage, she really enjoys all aspects of performing, and she feels that by challenging new areas or by like trying new things, you really find both yourself and the people that you are connected to, the people that are important to you, going to a new area, like you're able to kind of enter into this new zone. So any kind of new thing, I want to challenge it.
でも今の質問をいただいて、すごくふわっと自分でもハッとしたんですけど、歌うことそもそも好きじゃなかったです。そういえば。
But, actually kind of receiving that question, thinking about it, it kind of made me think or made me realize like, wow, in the past, I really didn't like singing.
そう、怖かったから。
It was scary.
ピッチとかリズムとか、あとプロデューサーさんにもアイドルグループをしてるときに、私3文字しか歌詞がない人、1曲にそのパートだけが私のソロで唯一歌える場所だったんですけど、そこも満足に歌えなくて、次失敗したらそのパートもなくなるよみたいなことをその当時言われてしまって、もうもうデスオワですみたいな感じでした。
So yeah, in the past, for me, it was just really scary singing because I was always worried about my pitch, about my rhythm, about just kind of like, can I actually do it? Can I carry it out? When I was in the group, one of the first songs that I was singing on, I only had 3 syllables as a solo. Like everything else was just singing with the other members or supporting. And even those 3 syllables I had so much difficulty with that the producer came to me and said, if you can't get it right, I'm going to have to give the part to somebody else. So it was a lot of pressure.
Wow. Well, it's so cool to see y'all, working together, and that, it's all working out that way, especially after pursuing the solo career in the metal world, and that it's all really working out. That's just awesome.
なんか今すべていい感じにハマってて、もう歯車が全部なんかハマってよかったね。
ありがとうございます。Thank you so much.
No, thank you so much, both of you, for taking the time to talk with me and give some extra details behind your solo project and all of that. I really look forward to more. I hope there's more down the road at some point, but really great album. And again, just thank you both so much for your time. I truly, truly
Thank you.
appreciate it.
No, thank you so much.
楽しかったです。
She really enjoyed it.
なんか今はもっともっといろんな人に知ってもらいたいってずっと思ってるので、こういう機会をくださって感謝。
So this, she really wants more and more people to hear the album, to hear her songs. So thank you so much for this opportunity. She really appreciates it.
ありがとう。
The pleasure is all mine. Thank you. And for everyone watching there, I'm going to put in the description down below all things Isiliel, social media stuff, links to videos, songs, all of that down in the description. So if you haven't listened to the band yet, go click on all those links, check it out. And if you are a fan already, make sure you're following them on the social medias so you can stay up to date with what's going on, what's happening, and all that good stuff. But yeah, I highly recommend MOONBOW Genesis. Definitely worth your while. So yeah, check out all those links. And one final time, thank you so very, very much. And thank you all folks for watching, and catch you all next time. Ranger out.